Hey guys, welcome back to Honkai Star Rail. In today's video, Hoyo just announced, put their post out with Xuan's skills and also traces. Now, this is also always a big one. Also, we got the light cone as well, which also looks crazy. But this is always a big one for me when they release these abilities, because then you get more of an insight into the complete character kit, because what we get from the dev live stream is very, very bare bones. Then they give us the skills. This is still not complete because we don't have multipliers and all that, but this gives us a clear indication of how the character is going to function. And the big thing is revealing traces, because often characters you don't get a feel for their complete kit until you see them with their traces, because traces are normally an integral part. And now they've officially released the traces for Xuan, so those are the main things I want to look at, and then we will also look at the light cone quickly as well. But here we go. These are the traces, and honestly, this is pretty huge for her. So the first one is when Matrix of Prescience is active, Xuan will regenerate extra energy when she uses her skill. Now, this is very important. This may not seem like a big one because it's like, well, if it's up, why are you using your skill? But let's say it's if you've got the field up, if you then just use basic, whenever the field dissipates, you're going to go a turn without having it up. So if you, depending on, so let's say it's a 3-turn duration, for instance, just pulling a number out of my head, then basically what you'd want to do is do skill, basic, and then skill, because that field will still be up, but you'll want to use the skill again to reapply it. It's kind of like with Luocha, when his field is up and then he does an attack. You don't really want to use his ultimate in that phase because you want to wait till it's down and then you want to get it up as quick as possible. With Xuan, it's that you want to, once it's got 1 turn remaining and it's her turn, you want to use that skill to refresh the remaining duration, but you don't want to be crippled for doing so, because with most other characters, when you're using a skill, you're getting something out of it. But if she's just reapplying it when it's not actually needed, it's technically still up, you do want to have some sort of benefit. And that benefit is that you can maintain 100% uptime of the Matrix of Prescience whilst also getting extra energy for that 1 lost turn of using the skill. So that is what that is actually a very important one in my opinion for making her feel like a more smooth playing character. Now, I just hope when she's on auto, they make the AI know this, that okay, I use my skill when there is 1 turn remaining on the field so that I don't have downtime. So that's what I really hope. So we'll have to still see the duration and how long it lasts for to see how skill point positive or neutral she'll be. If it's 2-turn field, then she'll be skill point neutral because she'll do skill basic. If it's 3 turns, she'll do skill basic skill. And if it's 4 turns, she'll do skill basic skill. So the duration of the field is really going to indicate how skill point positive that she's going to be. So we'll have to wait and see that. But that is definitely a really nice thing, getting extra energy. We'll also have to see how much it is. But hey, anything that's benefiting energy is going to be really nice, because we know from her ultimate that it's going to give her more frequent usage of her self-heal. So if she can get that energy, she's going to get more frequent self-healing. Plus, it's a bit of extra chip damage on enemies, and also extra break for the quantum break if you've got enemies that need that. So I think that is a really, really nice one. Then we have her next trace. Now, this is the biggest one. Once again, we don't have the complete picture. We'll have to wait and see exactly how much this is. But when Xuan ultimate is used, heals all other allies. So this also ties into getting that extra energy, means she can heal her team more often. So this is something that she absolutely needed for more reliable solo sustaining. The fact that she can now heal her allies, her kit is around mitigating the damage that they take and her taking it for them, and she can heal herself when she drops below a threshold. So she's pretty much safe with that. But this heal on other allies is what provides her with the ability to be a solo sustain unit. So that one is honestly the biggest trace for me. And like I said, some characters don't feel complete until you see their traces, and these two are so fundamental for her. This one for her smoothness, and then the heal for her capability to solo sustain. Now, we'll have to see how much this heal is. Maybe it's only a little heal, so you still might need a pretty advanced account to be able to get away with this as a solo sustain unit. But this is great for end game accounts, because early accounts, you're probably running a healer and a tanking type unit anyway, so she's just a great tanking type unit to mitigate damage and stuff like that. But then when you get into the end game and you're level 80s, your light cones are level 80, you're pretty well geared, plus 15 gear and stuff like that, then she can solo sustain, hopefully, based on this being enough heals to sustain your team. I already thought she was going to be viable to solo sustain based on the fact that she was going to mitigate enough damage, and when you're like speed clearing things with a solo sustain, you know, you're not really taking too much damage anyway, so she would allow them to survive for like those 0 cycle clears and stuff like that. But this would just lower the bar for using her as a solo sustain, which I think is a pretty big deal and pretty important for her. Now, the next one we have is if a target enemy applies crowd control debuffs to allies while the Matrix of Prescience is active, all allies will resist all crowd control debuffs applied by the enemy target during the current action. This effect can only be triggered once. When Matrix of Prescience is activated again, this number of times of the effect can be triggered will be reset. So what this is saying, it's basically saying you get one resist to crowd control, but it's on the entire crowd control attack. So if the enemy's ultimate is like a March ultimate, for instance, let's say, which freezes the whole team will resist that freeze. But if it's a single target attack, then obviously just the one ally will resist that attack. If it's like a Japad skill or something like that. So you just get one attack, the first attack that the enemy does, which has a control tied into it. It's basically the control side of it is nullified. That's the way I understand this, which is honestly a really nice effect because control can be real annoying, especially for someone like Jing Yuan. Jing Yuan hates being controlled because then he's completely shafted from using his Lightning Lord. So this is actually like a really good one for him because this allows him to get his Lightning Lord off without having to stress. So these traces, like I said, really nice. Really impressed with these traces. Adds that extra layer to Xuan, makes her more of a complete character from what we know. But once again, we will have to wait and see multipliers for skills and stuff like that. Now, if you want to have a look at her skills, they are here. It's nothing really new that I saw in here from what we already know. So if you want to have a look at these and take a look, then you can definitely jump in. I'll leave this link in the description and you can go ahead. The one thing that we did get was that the talent trigger count is increased by 1 with the ultimate, which before they said it just increases. So we get 1 extra basically self-heal for her off of that. But now let's jump over and quickly look at the light cone. Okay, here's the light cone. Increases the wearer's max HP by 24% and energy regeneration rate by 12%. When the wearer's HP decreases, increases the damage of all allies by 9% for 2 turns. At the beginning of each wave, restores HP by 80% of HP already lost by the characters themselves. This is honestly a pretty big light cone in my opinion. The thing that I don't like is light cones having energy regeneration because it feels like it feels like the character is lacking energy regeneration if you need to put it on the light cone. That's just a little gripe I have, but in general, I think this is huge. You got max HP, which is obviously what she's built around. Energy regeneration, we'll have to wait and see how like the rotation works with her ult and stuff like that. Maybe it's a big deal, maybe it's not. Increases the damage of all allies by 9% for 2 turns. This adds to her buffing effect. We already get the max HP buff, we get the crit buff, and now we just get the damage buff as well. And then the other one, which this is going to help even further with her solo sustain. I don't think this one is honestly the biggest thing. It's big for early accounts that are still struggling, but not so big. I don't know, because I feel like if you're going for like 0 cycle clears, the first 2 waves aren't really troubling you, so you don't really need that heal. But I could be wrong on that take. You guys let me know. But at the beginning of each wave, so it's like, you know, when you go into a Memory of Chaos 10 and you got like the first trash wave, then the first mini boss wave, and then the final boss wave. Those 3 waves are when that triggers the heal, not on cycles or anything like that. So honestly, it's all about the first 3 things in there: the max HP, the energy regeneration, and the damage of all allies. Those 3 things are really nice. And then, you know, for certain situations, the final effect is going to be nice as well. As for whether you should pull for it, I haven't had long enough to like sort of gather my thoughts on this. I just wanted to show you guys that the light cone is out. I think it's really good. I think it'll probably, based on what else we've got available, be best in slot for her like they always are. But I don't think at this stage, I don't think it's like you must pull for this to make her viable. I think she sounds perfectly viable based on her kit. We will have to wait and see multipliers, but that is pretty much it, guys. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.